Hello? Hello? People hear me? Am I good? Hello, hello. This is a stream? It is just a stream, yeah. Hello everybody. Welcome to our stream. We'll start shortly. Won't start just yet, but yeah. We'll just wait a few more minutes. But how's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? Having a good night. 2:25 p.m. That's not too bad. It's pretty nice. It's like the day is just starting. 2:25. Day's still young. Got a wolf cut? That's cool. Apparently everybody I hear is getting a wolf cut. Every time I ask people, it's like wolf cut, wolf cut. Yeah, it's almost 5 for me as well. I'm just getting kind of settled in. But yeah, I'm doing good. Not too bad. It's weird because summer felt like it went by really, really quickly. So it's kind of interesting. Hope everybody's doing, I don't know, something exciting, or they're relaxing maybe before their summer ends. An art block. Oh. Yeah, art blocks. Kinda stinker. What are we drawing today though? We are gonna be drawing, well, I'm gonna be animating hair, and based on the votes, we are gonna be doing a ghost character. So, I don't know. I don't know if, I know some people kind of wanted, more, the pirate character. My head went blank kind of thing. But ghost character I think won out, so we're gonna be doing that. Maybe I could add some pirate elements if people want to, but I don't know. I'm gonna be doing ghost. I don't know what I'm drawing. I think it's because we're doing ghost. I'm drawing a ghost character right now, but I'm gonna be starting in, well, how much? Oh, 2 minutes. So yeah. Dreadlocks. Oh, dreadlocks. That would be cool, but that might be a bit too much to animate in like 2 hours, or at least animate and have it look proper-ish, or as proper as I can make it in 2 minutes. I mean 2 hours, not 2 minutes. But yeah, I don't know. Ooh. My favorite depressed ghost. Oh, I see you blink now. Are we still on that? Yeah. Yes, I do blink. I can blink, guys. It is okay. I am okay. Well, the other time it was just a photo of me, so you know, it's my blinking abilities were taken away from me. Ooh. Let's see. It's 59. We got like one more minute. It's staring into my soul, but at least you blink. Yeah, at least I blink. Oh, what's oh right, this reminds me of the ghosts from Cuphead. I don't know if anybody played Cuphead, but like they kind of go like ooh kind of thing, you know? Did people play Cuphead? I feel like it's not the most accessible game in a sense, so I don't know what the likelihood of it is. Ooh. Does anybody else do that? You know, mix sound effects while they're drawing? Like if they're drawing a character, they kind of start going like, start speaking in the way they think the character would talk. I don't know. Here's a ghost. This is not the type of ghost character we're animating, but you know, just to kind of get into the mood. Apparently I heard that Disney World already starts doing like Halloween stuff, so it's kind of interesting. Okay, his 5. I'm just gonna catch up with chat and then we'll start. Yeah. He's a ghost to remind me of Pokemon. Oh, I don't know any kind of ghost Pokemon. I've not caught up with any of the recent Pokemon stuff. Yeah. It's Kid in the Sheets. Plays it. It's so hard. Cuphead, but I love it. Accidentally, a person I draw by accident. Halloween already. I know like Disney's doing early Halloween, like in the parks. They're doing like Halloween setups kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so since it's 5:01, I guess we will start. Hello everybody. Welcome to our stream. Today we're gonna be animating hair, and like I said a little bit early on beforehand, we're gonna be animating a hair moving on a ghostly or ghost-like type of character. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be interesting because I don't think I've drawn a ghost character, or okay, maybe I'm underselling because I already have a design in mind. It's not gonna look exactly like a ghost, but I guess you guys will see as we move on. But yes, that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be animating hair on a ghost-like type of character. So a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. Hello, we are Wing Canvas. If you don't know who we are in YouTube channel, but we are also a online school. So not only do we do tutorial videos on YouTube, we are also an online school where you can sign up for virtual classes and you can attend some of our mini classes. I personally run the animation, drawing, and painting classes. So if those are skills that you've always wanted to like maybe enhance or learn, those are the type of classes that I run personally. But there are also other types of classes as well, like cartooning and anime with Iggy, as well as figure drawing. I think our figure drawing camp just ended, and usually Faye and Jesse run those. But yeah, we have a lot of different types of classes. So if you are interested, check out our website. And we have also a lot of social medias as well. So we do have Discord, Instagram, and Facebook. A lot of the kind of animation and final artworks that we do after the stream, we post them on our social media. So once we're done, usually I send it off to Joanne, and then Joanne kind of posts them so you guys can see the final product on a more higher resolution and not just on my screen. So Discord, Facebook, and Instagram are the places to be if you are interested in seeing what the final piece looks like. And we also have Patreon. So if you feel like supporting us, you can sign up and check out our Patreon, as it unlocks a lot of different perks, such as members only chat, badges and emotes, and also a lot of other behind the scenes features and content. So if these kind of things seem interesting or sound interesting to you, feel free to check out our Patreon. So yeah, without further ado, we will get started. So, hair. Now I have a bunch of smaller files. Oh, actually, right, forgot. Before we do and jump on into like the hair, we gotta give a shout out to the art challenge submissions. So for this month, it is the month of fantasy. And so if you guys don't know, you guys can always go on to our Discord, and we have an art challenge channel where you can submit artworks that are for the prompt of the month. And we still got a few more days, so if you guys still want to submit your drawings for the fantasy challenge and fantasy prompt, feel free to do so. But right now I'm just going to shout out a few that got posted, and we're going to start off with this one, as you guys can kind of see from the preview that kept popping off on my layers. I thought this was like really cute. This is by Ice Bear. All these names are the names that they go by on their Discord, so these are their handles. And if you guys want to check out these people's work, you can always go to the Discord channel, and then that way you can take a closer look at them. But I thought this was really cute. I really like the color palette for this one, and I thought that, you know, nice little inclusion of the meme. I don't, to be fair, I don't really know what this meme is called, but I thought it was kind of funny that it's there. But I loved all the different kind of hairstyles and different kind of appearances and dress up for these characters, and the line works great, and I really love the colors. So yeah, great job, Ice Bear. I don't know if you're in the chat, but love it. It's great. And then the next one is by Jaden, and this one I thought was like really cool. I really love like the wings, or I think they're wings. They look like wings, but I just really like the design of this character. I think it looks really cool. And then there was like a little shout out for the character at the very bottom on the Discord chat. So there's this little, I don't know, quail, pigeon looking thing that looks also like it has horns, kind of like a demonic pigeon, demonic quail. I don't know. But yeah, the colors, the getup, the costume, really cool. Really love the horns and the eyes and the flow of the hair. So yeah, great work, Jaden. Moving on to the next one. This one is by Zipporah, and I thought the rendering and the character design and just the composition was really cool. So I love this kind of spiraling effect in the composition where the dragon is looking down and the character that apparently turns into a dragon is looking in the other directions, and then the flow of the hair kind of helps guide the eyes. So composition wise, I thought this was like really cool. There's a lot of flowing movements in it. It kind of helps guide and lead the eye around the piece. So yeah, great job, Zipporah. Again, don't know if any of you guys are in the chat, but great work so far. I kind of picked a lot this stream, but yeah, we're almost done. We got like 2 more. This one's by Zoe Chaos Girl, I think, or maybe it's pronounced different. Girl Potato. They submitted 2 pieces, but I thought they were like really kind of haunting and eerie, and I thought this was like really interesting looking, and the lighting's really cool too. So like the setup, I think this was for like a Pokemon themed D&D kind of thing, but yeah, thought this was really neat. Really love the colors, the saturation, and the vibrancy of it, and I love the creativity with the characters. So again, great job. And gonna go to our last one, and I picked this one because I really love just the simplicity of it. How, you know, I run the character design camp, which is over now because summer's done, but I really love this. It's very straightforward. It's simple, but it kind of gets right to the point, and I just love how all of the details up here. I like the kind of character proportions. And this one's by Gem Squash, and yeah, I love how big the eye is and how basically it's like the entire head, but then the hair kind of frames the entire face, and I love the eyelashes, or I think they're eyelashes, how they're kind of peeking out. So yeah, it was really cool. I guess in terms of like one comment or critique, I think the legs look like they're facing backwards, but other than that, I think the like overall design and silhouette of it is like really neat. So great job, Gem Squash, and great job for everybody who submitted stuff. So yeah, thank you, Joanne, for answering how you can submit Again, you can submit your pieces on Discord in the Art Challenges channel. And then every week we try to take a look at some of them. Of course, we can't give a shout out for every single piece because there's just so many submissions sometimes. So maybe you can submit it and then maybe you'll get the possibility of having us pick it on our stream. So yeah. But either way, great job everybody who's submitted. It's always great to see what people kind of come up with and all the different kind of ideas and creativity that people have. So yeah, keep them coming. You do have, I think, how many days are there in August? Like 30? Or is it 31? 31. You have 6 more days, kind of. 5-ish days, you know, to submit some more if you want to. But yeah, without further ado, we're gonna jump into animating hair. Okay, so animating hair. I'm gonna maybe put this up here so I can draw on it. Now, before we get into, I'm just gonna maybe unpin these. Okay, so animating hair. Animating hair can be like really cool, and it's like a really fun exercise to do, especially, you know, if you want to animate something kind of simple that's not too complicated, because if hair is just moving, you kind of don't really have to move the face, you don't really have to do anything with the eyes or the body, so you can kind of really zoom in on the head and just animate the hair. So it's like a really nice and neat exercise to try out if you just want to dip your toe in animation a little bit. But there are some key things to think about and know before you start animating hair. So that's what I'm going to go into right now. So before we get into the actual sequence, I did do a kind of test rough run on, that's kind of like a jumble of words, test rough run on Krita before we started. So I'm just going to use this to kind of break down what to think about when you're doing hair. So before we start, you can see that I have one layer that's hair and then one layer that's the face base. But usually if I'm not gonna, let's say I'm not gonna animate the face, I'm not gonna animate too much of like the blinking, or maybe I do want to animate the face later, it's always safer to just kind of separate them into different layers, especially if you're going to be erasing a lot and you don't want to change too much. So that's why I have them on separate layers. But you can see that on the face, I kind of just drew the character. Nothing too complicated, but I kept the kind of shape of the skull. So if you're going to animate a character with hair flowing, I think it's safe to kind of have the shape of the skull kind of there, or at least keep it in mind before you start animating it. Because remember, if you think about the hair is all kind of connected onto the skull. So how the hair is going to move is going to be dependent on how the hair, how the hair attaches to the head. So when I'm thinking about how hair is going to be moving, I'm also thinking about how it's connected to the scalp of the character's face. Now, it might not look like this specifically, but this could be like one way to do it. Every style is going to be a bit different. Some of them are very simplified, some of them are very clean cut, but you kind of want to think about how the hair is attached to the head and how it's attached to the scalp of the person's face. Where is the hairline for the character? Because let's say if the hairline's over here, then that means the hair must always start from here if it's going to be flowing back, kind of thing. It's not going to all of a sudden start here on one frame and then all of a sudden shift over here when it's flowing. Because then it'll make it look like the person's wearing like a wig or something's weird happening with the hair. It's moving all the way around. So you want to think about how it's attaching to the head, and that'll help ground your drawing as you are animating hair. So that's kind of some key things to think about. The next thing is, when you're thinking about animating hair, you kind of want to also think of it as one massive shape, especially if you're just starting off, if you're blocking out the animation. Maybe don't start off with each and individual strand of hair, don't draw tiny little pieces. Think of it as one big kind of clump and one big shape, and how it's going to move overall. So if you take a look at keys that I have so far, each time the hair is moving, I'm thinking about it as one big shape and how it's moving all together. So these are more of like things to think about before you start animating, keep in mind. And how I like to think about it is like, think about how the hair is one big shape and how it's going to be moving all together. So I did this really quickly. It's kind of rough, but I'll play it just so you can see kind of how the piece is moving. So I guess in a way I've thought about this movement as like there's a big gust of wind and it's blowing the hair. You can see that I haven't really thought about the pieces on the front just yet, but I'm just thinking about the overall shape of the hair in the back. And so you can see it's one big clump. I'm not really thinking about each individual strand. There's not stray hairs flying around, but I'm kind of thinking about the overall movement all at once. So these are things to keep in mind while you're animating. Now, when you actually start animating, what do you want to think about? And so the main thing I would say, give me a sec, I'm gonna pin this on. Okay. So when you're thinking about hair and you're thinking about hair movement, you want to think of it as kind of like a whip, right? So hopefully everybody kind of knows what a whip looks like, but when something starts, let's say it's just hanging down, it's going to be like this, and there's kind of a weight pulling down at the very end of the whip. Let's say this is a whip, and this is the handle. Now, when the whip has to move upwards, like let's say we kick it up, the bottom has to follow around, so there's going to be a little bit of drag and follow through, which means that the whip is probably going to move up to here as the handle moves up. So the whip is still kind of here at the bottom, and it's kind of following down. Maybe I'll just move this over here. And then as the whip continues to go back, this is going to be maybe like here. And again, there's still a little bit of follow through. And remember, if you guys were here for the 12 principles of animation, I went through how it needs to be an arced movement when it comes to animation. So you can see that as the whip is moving back, there's still kind of this curved motion to it. So you can see that the weight of the bottom of the whip has to follow through even as it's moving. And then afterwards, once the whip starts moving forward, the whip is going to start going this way, and then the tail end is going to have a little bit of an overlap. So the whip at the end still needs to kind of be following the momentum and weight of it until the whip handle goes completely forward, and it's going to be like this. So you can see that there's a little bit of a curving motion. There always needs to be, there's a kind of guiding side, which is the tip end, and then there's always going to be a follow through and overlap at this side. So the motion and flow of the hair is always going to be kind of in a similar way to the whip. So if I go back to the hair side, maybe I'll pin this. If I go back to the hair is kind of weighted at the bottom, right? The bottom of the hair is being pulled down, and then afterwards, the hair is slowly kind of moving, and you can see that the weighted part of the hair is the part that's connected to the scalp, and then the hair is slowly moving this way. But the tip of the hair isn't going to move immediately. It's still going to kind of follow through, and then it kicks off. And then again, the base of the hair is kind of stuck there, and it's guiding the tip of the hair down. And then the kind of main part of the hair is starting to move again. And then the tip of the hair follows and then kicks off. So when you're thinking about hair movement, you want to think about where's the guiding movement, where's the main part that's leading the hair, and then how is the tip of the hair going to follow through. So I guess I'll play it so you can kind of see how the base of the hair over here near the scalp is guiding the movement first, and then the tip of the hair follows through afterwards. So you can kind of think of hair as like a whip, but you also want to think about multiple things, kind of like the stuff that I said in the beginning. What's the shape of the scalp? Where's the hairline? How is the hair going to be moving? Where's the guiding point? And then where's the tip, and how is the tip of the hair going to follow the flow of the hair? But the movement is pretty simple and pretty straightforward. And to demonstrate that, I'm just going to use another example. And this was one that actually caught my eye in the comments. So someone mentioned how when they think of a ghostly wavy hair in for like a character, they think of Eris from Sinbad. And I was like, oh, that's a cool one. That's true. Her hair almost kind of has like a life of her own, you know, life of its own. It kind of moves on its own and feels like she's underwater the whole time, kind of thing. But if you think about, and if you look at the drawings, maybe I'll just dim it down a little bit. But if you look at the drawings, you'll notice that there's the scalp, there's the hairline, and then you'll notice that the hair is always staying there. It's just kind of, that's where it's rooted down. And then afterwards, the hair is constantly following a consistent motion. So you see in the first frame, the hair is kind of dragged down, and then it's moving this way. And then the base of the hair, the major mass of the hair is moving to the right. And then once it's there, the tip of the hair kind of catches up. And then next, the base of the hair starts moving this way, and so the tip of the hair also has to follow in that movement, and then it kind of follows through over this. So it has kind of like a spiraling effect to it in terms of how it's moving and everything. And then afterwards, the hair goes down, and you can see the tip of the hair. It's like right over here. The tip of the hair follows suit afterwards. So it goes way down, and then it goes back up again. So when you're thinking about hair movement, you kind of want to follow through in how you want the major mass of the hair to be moving, and you just want to remember that the tip of the hair always follows afterwards. So you can also think of like a major guiding movement. Just think of one direction. Don't think of every single strand being kind of having a life of its own. Think of the hair as one big overall shape and how it's moving overall, and that's going to guide the tip of the hair. So that's kind of why I thought this was like a really cool example, because you can really see just the movement of the hair. So if you watch a clip of her kind of just talking and how the hair is moving, it's really neat because it's always moving, but it's always moving in a very fluid and kind of neat motion. It's never the same. It's always floating and flowing, but you can always track where the major mass of the motion, major mass of it is going, and then how the tip of the hair has to follow afterwards. So this one was, it's going this way, and then the tip of the hair follows afterwards. So I think her name is like Eris, like Eris, from the movie Sinbad. Sorry, I'm using like a really like textured brush, but it's the movie Sinbad, and there's like, just type in Eris animation maybe, and it'll come up. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And if anybody wants to like maybe take some inspiration from hair movements, I would highly recommend you guys like check it out, because it's some really cool animation sequence for hair. It's not by Disney, it's actually by DreamWorks. The movie itself is it has some good moments, but I think it's a little bit old, and it has some rough parts, but there's some really, really cool art style in it. The animation's really good, but the story is a little, it's not the best, but yeah. Okay, so that's kind of just the core of how to think about hair. So now we're going to go into the actual design of our character. So I'm just going to unpin all these things, and I'm just going to save. Hopefully Krita doesn't crash on me. So ghostly kind of character. And the design that I was thinking of is I'm going to probably just go with something pretty simple, straightforward, nothing too overly complicated, because, you know, we don't have too much time, so I want to make sure that I can kind of pull it off. So I'm gonna get kind of going so you can kind of see my drawing process and the different stages that I take when I'm drawing a character. So when I'm drawing a character, I start off with kind of the shape of the head. I'll start with this color. And when I'm drawing the circle for the head, I'm not going to spend too much time with it. I like to keep it smooth as I can. And because we're drawing digital, it doesn't really matter if it's like correct or not. And then I want her to kind of be looking down in a contemplative kind of way. And we're going to go for kind of the similar chibi-ish type of look that was in the first drawing. Animation program that I recommend. It depends on how well your computer is. So if your computer is like pretty good, I would recommend trying Krita out first, just because it's free. If you have like an iPad and you don't mind paying some money, Procreate is also not too bad. But let's say your computer's not that great. Sketchbook, Autodesk Sketchbook also has a animation feature to it. It's not the best. It's a little bit limited with what you can do, but I would kind of recommend it since it's free as well. Autodesk Sketchbook is free, but it is a little bit limited with what you can do with it. So that's kind of just the downside to it. So I'm just going to quickly map out what this character is going to look like. I'm going to go for a more simplified kind of style. So when I was thinking about like a ghostly kind of character, I was thinking of someone with maybe like a skull mask or something. It'd be kind of like cool, but not too eerie. I think I'm also a little bit inspired by the whole Haunted Mansion movie. I didn't see the new one, but I've always thought the Haunted Mansion ride was really cool, and the kind of ghost designs were kind of neat too. So I'm kind of going for this more kind of less creepy and more kind of stylized type of approach. So I'm gonna give it kind of like a skull cut and mask for the character. And I'm not going to worry too much about the body or anything, because the focus of this is going to be on the hair and mostly on the face. So I'm not going to worry too much about like how the body looks or anything like that. But this is kind of the design I was thinking of. Now, once I have this, what I want to just check really quickly is that it looks good on the flipped angle. And so maybe I might just widen the brow just a little bit. And I'm also going to think about the size of the cranium. So right now I think her skull might be a little small, and that's kind of just personal preference. You might look at the drawing and be like, oh, you know what, doesn't look that bad, it looks fine. But for me, I kind of want it to just be a little bit bigger, so I just have a little bit more room to work with. And then gonna just give her like a collar kind of a thing. I think it's also gonna rework the mouth a little bit, something like that. Okay, so yeah, that looks not too bad. And then what I'm gonna do right now is just lightly indicate where the hairline might be. So for a more chibi, I guess cartoony, let's say anime type of look, usually the hairline is quite close to the facial features versus a more realistic art style where there would be quite a bit of spacing. Oh yeah, Clip Studio would also not be too bad if you don't mind paying for it. It is a one-time pay unless you opt in for the monthly thing, but yeah. Oh, tracing paper, yeah, that works too. So like Flipbook. I also know that some people like using Flip-a-Book, or is it Flip-a-Clip or Flip-a-Book? Which is also free, but I think it's only on the iPad. So I'm now just gonna draw the body design. I'm just gonna map out roughly how big the body I want it to be. Now for a character like this that is more simplified, I'm just gonna use rough body proportions. So what I like to do is just take the size of the head, use my fingers and drop it down. That kind of gives me a rough idea as to how long the body might be. So something like this possibly is where the body might end. I'm just gonna move it up just a little bit more. So something like this might be good. So right now I'm just kind of designing and figuring out what I want this character to look like. And then I think I'm gonna give her kind of like this ghostly, not ghostly, but like skeletal kind of outfit. So her arm, her shoulder is gonna be here. It's just gonna be hanging down though. Something like this, probably. Since the bottom of her rib cage, I'm kind of indicating that it's here. The elbow is probably gonna be somewhere there. And what this means then is I kind of wanted to give her a tank top type of outfit. Something like this. And gonna give a rib cage kind of graphic design on her clothing to indicate that, like, yeah, this is where the rib cage would have been. So this is like a quick rough sketch. As we animate, I'll probably then do a cleaned up version, but for now, you know, it's gonna be okay if we do this not super clean. Should be okay. Then you can kind of see maybe the inside of her arm. Again, we're just gonna simplify it to the bone kind of thing. Let's see. She's got like a band maybe on her outfit. Let's see. 20 frames, but if you pay more for X version, it's unlimited. Really? They capped it out? That's crazy. But I'm using a 3-month free trial. They have a 3-month free trial now? Dang, that's crazy. I bought it when it was on sale, so it's a one-time buy kind of thing. Yeah. I feel like if it's full price, it's around $40 or $50 Canadian, I want to say, for Clip Studio. But when it's on sale, I think I got it for like 25 or 20. So I feel like if you wait for a sale, it's not too bad. Yeah. It kind of just depends on which version you want, kind of thing. Yeah. And okay, so now I kind of got the body design. So I'm just gonna call this the figure, and then I'm gonna make a new layer, and I'm gonna call this hair. So now that I have the base drawing for the character, and I've got the hairline figured out and all that kind of stuff, I'm gonna now figure out what the hair is roughly gonna look like. It's so rad. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Sorry, just gonna get a sip of water. I am Brasilia? Or you mean like you're Brazilian? That's kind of cool. It's kind of neat. Okay, so we got the figure. And now we're gonna do the hair. So now that we got the base down, I'm just going to figure out roughly what her hair shape is going to be and what I want the hair shape to look like. So I kind of want it to be really poofy, and I'm actually going to take some inspiration from the Sinbad movie, and I want the hair to be kind of flowing behind her in one big flowing shape. Again, I'm not going to worry too much about the cleanliness of the lines, but I'm just going to make sure that I have the overall shape of the hair down. And maybe we'll add a little front piece hair in the beginning. And then maybe something like this. So some major parts to think about when you think about how the hair is connected. Overall, for the back part, like this whole area back here, it doesn't really matter because it's basically that's where all the hair is coming from. But the main parts you do want to think about are this area, this kind of the hairline shape that you have. But also remember that hair attaches at the back. So for most people, hair attaches not right behind, but somewhere a little bit behind the ear. If you're doing a bit more cartoony, that amount of space is going to lessen. So that's why this area right over here is really, really kind of small. But usually hair is going to be attached in that area. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Actually, when I drew the circle, I was like, oh, earrings would be kind of cool. I'll just give her a really big earring over here. Am I making it harder for myself? Maybe a little bit, because now I'm going to have to think about how the earring is moving. But we'll worry about that later. Future me is a problem, is going to have to deal with that. Okay, so I got the figure, and now, because I'm using Krita, I haven't actually placed any frames yet. I've just been drawing it, but this is going to be my starting frame. And I'm going to unpin paint layer 9, and I'm just going to keep the hair layer on my timeline. And then if you look at my kind of timeline settings, I have it at 24 frames a second. That's just kind of how I like to work. I'm starting on frame 1, and right now I have it set to being around 65 frames. If, as we're animating this, I want to add more, I'll do that. But for now, 65 I think is going to be a good amount. It'll allow for the animation to play out pretty nicely. And yeah. Oh, and also I have auto key duplicate. So if you are using Krita and you want to follow along, these are kind of just the settings that I have right now. Yeah, so you can draw and animate on it. I have it on auto key duplicate because actually, maybe I won't have it on auto key duplicate because now, yeah, I'm going to be changing the hair shape every single time. So I think I might actually go to auto key blank. What this means is every time I start drawing, it creates a blank frame of animation. And because we've separated the figure and the hair, I don't have to worry about it deleting the figure drawing, and I can just keep whatever the hair looks like. But yeah, that's kind of it. If you want to take a look at my onion skin settings, this is what it looks like for now. Right now I have 2 frames behind and 2 frames back that I will see, but we'll get there once we start animating. And without further ado, we're gonna start. So right now I'm just gonna keep it rough. This would be like the first rough pass for animation, but I'll try to keep it as clean as I can as we continue working on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click frame 1, and I'm gonna click duplicate frame because we already started the drawing. If I created a blank frame, it's gonna actually delete everything. That's not what I want. So just to show you guys, if I create blank frame, you can see it deletes everything. I don't want that. So I'm just gonna go click duplicate frame so it actually keeps it. And yeah, now we'll start animating. So for this sequence, when we animate hair, it's probably best to animate straight ahead. So for those who don't remember, straight ahead, or maybe I'll write this here. Or yeah, I'll write here. So straight ahead is when we animate every single frame, one by one. As we animate, we just keep moving frame by frame by frame, straight ahead. And the reason why I would animate straight ahead instead of pose to pose, so straight ahead, but probably not pose to pose. I probably won't animate pose to pose because pose to pose means I'm animating every key or important pose in this sequence. And in this case, let's say I was animating a head turn, it would be some guy looking this way. This would be one key pose. And then after maybe like 5 frames or something, he would look the other way. And what I'm doing when you're animating pose to pose is you're thinking about what are the major important breaking up too much. Oh no, am I breaking up? Well, hopefully the connection gets better. But yeah, pose to pose, it'll just be drawing major keyframe on one side and then thinking about how far it takes or how long it takes to get to the next key pose. This is good for stuff that requires a lot of planning, so things like walking or a jumping pose, where you want to map out how high and how low someone is going to be when they're jumping. But with something organic, so things like fire, wind, clothing rippling, and all that kind of stuff, that stuff is very organic, and it's a lot of it's hard to predict. So when it comes to hair is in that same principle. Hair is very hard to predict, so there's no point going like, okay, frame 1, it's gonna look like this, and then frame 12, I want the hair to be down here or something. Now, maybe this could be a direction I want the hair to be in, but I have no idea whether the hair is actually gonna be down here in 12 frames. So instead, for a more organic approach, we're going to animate this frame by frame. But also because since we don't have too much time, I'm going to animate on 3s, meaning I'm going to animate on every 2 frames. So I'm going to leave 2 frame gap in the middle and then animate on the 4th one next. So just a reminder, I'm animating right now straight ahead, meaning I'm going to animate each pose one bit at a time. And I'm going to be animating on 3s, essentially. And so for this one, remember I'm going to be using Eris as a kind of reference and inspiration. And I really liked that her hair was kind of flowing and just floating on its own as if she was underwater. So that's what I'm going to do. So for the next sequence, or for the next pose, I'm going to draw the hair... Whoops, wrong pen. I'm going to draw the hair kind of floating even more upwards. And so what's happening is the guiding motion for the major mass of the hair movement is going to be moving upwards. So as it's moving upwards, this is going to go maybe up even further. And maybe for some poses, it's going to look a little strange. It's going to look a little bizarre. So as this front part starts bunching up and moving upwards like this, it's going to pull the point of the hair this way. It's going to pull it down. So that means this part might go this way, and it'll go like this. So something like that. Oh, did someone ask about brush? If you are using digital art, what brush you use for the hair? Oh, I'm just using any brush. If you are using Krita, the one I'm using is this one. It's called Pencil 6, but I did adjust it. So if you ever want to change the settings for your brush on Krita, it's up here, Edit Brush Settings, and if you click on it, there's a bunch of stuff that you can adjust. To keep it simple, the only ones that I kind of take note of is size and opacity. There's also some other stuff, like you can like take a look at it, but for the most part, the only ones that I bother touching or adjusting is size and opacity, which you can see there's like a graph, and you just kind of change it like this kind of thing. Yeah, so nothing too fancy. I want to keep it straightforward and simple for myself. Yeah. I do like a little bit of texture in my brushes, so that's why this one does have a bit of texture to it, but I try not to go too crazy with the textures, or else I get too caught up on it. But yeah, so as the hair motion is going this way, it's gonna pull the back end of the hair down. Let me see. I gotta also mentally think about how this is gonna move as well. So it's going down, which means the major mass of the hair is going down, and then this front kind of maybe side hair that's over here, maybe I'll move it forward and it'll be here. So if you remember from last week on animation principles, we talked about secondary action, and this kind of side piece hair over here, you can kind of think of it as secondary action, because the main action that's happening is the major part of the hair piece, but these kind of smaller pieces are kind of the secondary stuff. So I'm just gonna, so it's going this way, it's kind of working. And again, I'm not gonna worry too much about the tiny strands, but I might just add in a few just so that, you know, I can kind of remember that there is some kind of hair strands happening. So this is what it looks like right now. And actually I'm gonna just erase the scalp just a little bit so it's not too distracting. And I might erase the scalp a little bit. Yeah, so something like that. And go back to the hair, and this time I'm gonna add the kind of the hairline for this. Maybe that's a bit too much. Oh, actually, I guess it would be moving upwards. Kind of like that. And then that means I'll adjust also this first one. So I want to see how it's starting off. Probably something like this. Yeah. Actually, a great reference to look at for hair is also Little Mermaid. Ariel's hair movement is like a really great one to kind of also think about as well, because it's underwater and everything. So it's going to roll forward even more, but this time it's going to start rolling maybe downwards. It's going to go up, and it's going to start going this way. She's basically getting one massive pompadour. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but big, massive hair piece in the front. And again, you can see that I'm thinking about where her scalp is, so I'm trying not to have it cross it, because there would be hair coming off of that point. So I want to think about how it's gonna, you know, yeah, it's gonna be moving. Such volume. Yup, you know it. And then the front hair piece might be doing something like this. Let's see, it's pulling. Actually, it might start doing this instead. And because it's pushing down, maybe it's pushing down even more down here. So I might add a little bit of overlap to allow for the hair to pinch in more so that it can really move and everything. And I would say at the core, animation, like learning the principles of animation, isn't too hard. The hard part is the drawing side. So if you really want to get good at animation, it's all about how good you are at learning how to draw, basically. And it sounds really kind of, I guess, obvious, but learning how to draw is a big part of getting good at animating. Okay, I'm just gonna turn off onion skin so I can see the fluidity and the volume and the flow of the hair. So this way I can make sure I'm drawing it and it's moving properly. such volume. Yeah, it's moving quite a bit. Okay, then we're gonna move on to the next pose. And now it's probably gonna be, let's say it's all the way here, and it's gonna start coming down. So now that the hair has kind of reached its main point, it's gonna start coming down because all the weight is now bunching up, and because this part is pulling up. I'm thinking about like how all of this is slowly being pulled inwards. I'm thinking about the physics and the weight of the hair and how it's kind of like flowing over and everything. And I'm keeping it loose, and I'm drawing it, well, I'm not drawing it super quick, but I'm drawing it as quick as I can, just so that I can get an overall feel for what the hair might be doing. So the hair would be over there. Again, let's... Because now the tip of the hair is kind of, in a way, crashing into the scalp of the hair. It's going to kind of bubble out. So now all that mass that is kind of bunching up towards her scalp is going to start pushing over. And maybe this time I'll have it really hit kind of the base of her body. And I'm thinking about, again, where the back of her head is going to be, because that's going to be where the hair is kind of colliding into. So maybe now the tip of the hair is over here. And this part, or maybe it's going to maybe be a little bit more like this. And now... gonna push it even more, so it's starting to come down, maybe. So you can see I'm working at it one step at a time because I don't really know exactly what the momentum is. I have an idea as the direction I want it to go in, but I'm not exactly 100% sure as to like what the hair is gonna be doing. I'm kind of like going with the flow and improvising and just seeing if it's connecting and working. So if I just flip through it right now, this is kind of what's happening. Ida. Hey. Where can I get the hair product she uses? It's Tresemme, you know. Okay, so the next one... This is going to be the tricky part, probably, because now I have to kind of resolve what the hair is going to do. And the motion is here. So maybe it goes in front of her face just a little bit. But that's going to be interesting to think about. So now I've, in a way, cornered myself into a direction the hair is going to be. But I think what I'm going to do is, like, yeah, the hair is going to start kind of going in front of her face a little bit as it's coming in. Maybe just leave a little bit of a tip for the tip of the hair so that it has somewhere to go, and it's going to go even further down, and then maybe this time the hair is now actually going to go in front of the face. Because now all that weight and all that momentum for the hair has finally come through, and it's gonna go into the front of her head. Again, not too sure if this will work. Sometimes you just kind of have to play it and see how it goes. So we'll play it real quick. That's okay. It's not too bad, actually. Let's see. We'll just play it up to here. This is like the big finish, because this is gonna, how this works is gonna be very much dependent on how well I can kind of executed coming forward. So maybe as a reference point, we'll take a look at how it's kind of doing its thing. Oh, spiraling motion. So maybe now that the hair's come through, and remember for hair, there's a little bit of space between the gap. I mean, not the gap, the scalp. There's a little bit of space between the scalp and everything. So you want to make sure that you're leaving that amount of space. So maybe now the tip of the hair is coming this way. It's coming in this way. I'm just following the momentum. I'm thinking about, it's like a balance, you know, I'm thinking about it, but I'm not fighting it too much. I'm going with the flow of the hair and seeing what, you know, kind of guides the flow of the image. And let's see. So right now I'm thinking about like how this hair is coming down as well. Like it bunched up over here. So it's probably gonna be like off the page somewhere. And again, just gonna have to play it just to see how it goes. And actually that kind of works. Maybe the bottom part's not working, but that kind of jump in motion allows for this feeling of kick to happen. So now it's maybe crossing over to the other side, kind of like this, maybe. And there'll be a little bit of a tip of the hair, kind of like a tail. And then this part of the hair is, let's see, where was it going? It's coming down, it's moving downwards. That's probably going to move down even more. And then it's going to really maybe straighten out a little bit with that hair tip. Again, I'm thinking about it like a whip. I'm thinking about how the major mass of the hair is guiding it down. And then like the front part of the hair is probably going to be around here. So I'm thinking about the scalp of the hair and how it's pushing it downwards. Probably might even cover up the face a little bit. Actually, yeah, maybe I'll cover up the entire face on this section. So I'm probably going to have to adjust that on the face side of things. But yeah, it'll be interesting seeing how this all plays out afterwards. So let's just see how it flows. Oh my goodness. My stylus always like double clicks, so it's a little annoying. There's a little bit of like a jump and kick towards like that kind of final end, so I'll probably have to add another frame just to help smooth it out, but it's not too bad. Time to call the ghost salon. Yeah, heck yeah. Okay. Even though I said that it probably you don't have to do pose to pose, it doesn't mean that you can't go back in afterwards and add some kind of in between, because you know sometimes you're drawing it and you realize, oh, the flow of it is not as good as I thought it was, so now you have to kind of readjust for it. So I'm probably gonna lower this down even more. Oh, actually, probably really long now. And tip of her hair is probably gonna be like pretty much at the end, I would say. And then her front hair is probably gonna come down even more, cover more of the face. Yeah. It's almost there. You can kind of see it. It has a little flick. Actually, I think this part is kind of missing. So the hair's coming this way. I guess I could start having the hair actually come forward from here. Actually, this one probably move forward as well. So it's always a little bit of like finessing and figuring things out, because the first go you have it at it, it's probably not going to be perfect. You're gonna have to kind of finesse it and see what's working and all that kind of stuff. So now this is when the hair is gonna all clump together and become one massive shape, because it's flowing enough now that it's probably gonna be one massive shape. And maybe something like this. It's all coming down and it pinches into one shape. So let's see how this goes. You'll probably need some adjusting and in-betweening, but you know, it's getting there. It's getting there. He's got like 1 more hour, so that extra hour or extra probably last 30 minutes is when I'll probably call it, and then not call it, but like I'll start cleaning it up and cleaning up the motion and the adjustment for it. So right now it's kind of still the rough blocking in process and everything. Is anyone drawing along the stream? Hey, we got some people. Some people are drawing. Hey, Josh. Yo, what's up? And now that the hair is all in the front, I'm actually going to have it start pushing upwards. Maybe something like this. I mean, that's kind of a big jump, so I don't know if it'll actually connect. But I'm animating, please send help. What are you animating? Oh, are you also anybody animating the hair? Like giving a shot at the hair as well? Or are some people doing something a little different? Hair but front facing. Oh, hey, yeah. It's on a Lego color character. Dang, what? This is hard. I mean, if this is the first time, try not to do a too complicated of a hair motion like I am. You can just honestly do kind of like a waving flag sequence if you want to. But I was kind of just going with the flow, no pun intended. And this is now what my character's hair is doing. And I'm probably gonna start having it move upwards, so similar to what that Aries character's hair was doing in the Sinbad kind of piece. Maybe some of the back hair should also... actually, that makes it too complicated. We're just gonna have the character's hair start rounding up. It's gonna go off page. We're gonna do this really quickly because I want to start bringing the hair back. And just give me a sec. I'm just gonna grab a swig of water. Tried to copy? Oh dang, really? Oh man. Lego hair. I feel like Lego hair is pretty straightforward, meaning that it's usually not too... they don't have really complicated hair shapes, so if you are animating more on a simplified type of character, try to keep the hair shape simple and whatnot. Yeah. I'm just gonna draw the front, how the front hair is gonna be kind of bunching up as well. So let's just see how this is. That's not too bad. It's fairly simple. Okay. Yeah. It's hard. You're trying to copy me. Yeah, maybe maybe copying me for this maybe might not have been the best, but I like the attempt. I like that you tried going for it. Okay, so now that the hair is kind of going upwards as well, the main mass of the hair is now kind of higher. Yeah, I kind of accidentally picked a tricky type of approach for this, so if anyone did try to follow along, my bad, because this is a bit of a, not that it's super hard, but if you've never done a hair motion before, this is quite a lot to kind of manage. It's a lot of hair to manage. Okay. Hair's gonna push back down. Okay, even though I said I'm not doing it pose to pose, I'm still working at it step by step, but I am starting to think of like, okay, what direction do I want the hair to move in? So it's not, it's kind of like a mix of both, which is kind of what you want when it comes to animating, which is you don't always want to just stick like strictly with pose to pose, and you don't want to stick strictly to straight ahead. So it's a little mix of the two. We love a good challenge. It is a good challenge though. Yeah. You're never gonna push and learn if you don't challenge yourself and push yourselves. But this one would have been this one is a tough one to do. I would say, you know, be patient. Definitely, if you kind of are liking it, you don't have to finish this in one sitting. I probably for sure can't probably do this in a 2-hour sitting, especially since we didn't technically do this in 2 hours. We had a little bit of time in the beginning for just going over hair and whatnot, but yeah. Okay, as the hair is pushing back, it's probably gonna go back this way and down, and then the hair is now kind of going back to its original state. So just show a bit of the hair tip again, and then this time the hair is kind of back to being in the front. Maybe this one, there's like a little bit of a wisp over here, and then this one is kind of coming back. So we had a little bit of a front piece here, so I kind of wanted to bring it back. It's gonna start settling in again. So I will say I am taking a little bit of inspiration from like Glenn Keane. Their names kind of rhymed. For like the hair movement from like Ariel, from Little Mermaid. Yeah. So I'm trying to imagine like, oh, if this was like floating underwater, you know, what would the hair kind of flow like? What would the movement be overall? Yeah, so it's a little bit choppy when it kind of comes to the front, and that would require a little bit of cleanup, especially the timing's not necessarily right, because we are drawing this like frame by frame, so I am going to have to kind of figure out like what would the finishing part be. And maybe we can kind of have it looping, so, you know, it's not just It's not just, let me see, it's coming front, it's coming this way. Oh, yeah, I would have to push it back a little bit. So I'm not just, I actually forgot my train of thought. But maybe I'll have it loop back, I think is what I was gonna say. And I actually might have to break it up into 2 pieces, which is gonna be interesting. Let's see, it's 6:09. We still got a decent amount of time. And then the side piece is gonna kind of, let me see. I think I was like bringing it back down. Hey, yes. Yeah, post whatever you guys are working on Discord. It'd be awesome to kind of just have everybody share if they did do the hair animation, or if you didn't do the hair animation, you're kind of just doing your own thing. That's cool too. Yeah, we're kind of reaching our 65 frames, so I'm gonna see if I can actually have it connect with the front pose, which I don't know if I'll be able to, but we'll see. So it's going down, and then probably let's have it kind of come back over here. So it's probably going to start pinching a bit more, like this way. And oh, also I guess this is a good point to bring up for straight ahead. Why straight ahead and not do pose to pose for something like this? And that's because it's organic, but for more organic things, it's better and it looks more natural if you kind of just go with the flow. So imagine if I tried doing this pose to pose, trying to figure out every single strand of hair and like where it would be, and like trying to think about it in the future, like, oh, where would this be in like 5 poses? It'd be kind of tricky, and it would be a little bit almost not impossible, but it definitely would be quite odd to try to think about it in all, like trying to think about it in like 5 steps ahead and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it would be interesting to, it would make it definitely really challenging. So we do it straight ahead so that we can kind of think about it in the moment and just be like, huh, okay, the motion was going this way, and you know, it keeps the drawing loose. You kind of just improvise and tackle it and see where it takes you. Okay, the hair is kind of coming down. You know what? We're just gonna do it like this, and just gonna play it, see how it goes. Probably is not gonna make any sense, but I kind of needed to just move. Kind of needed to just move and everything. Yeah, it's kind of coming this way. She's got a little bit of like a turnip front, kind of, which is not what I intended, but kind of has like a bit of a turnip vegetable onion beginning. Yeah. Oh, and I'm gonna save just in case, because I am working with quite a bit of frames and layers, and hopefully Krita doesn't crash. So for anybody working on this digitally, remember to save, or else it's gonna be really sad if you lose all of your work progress. It's coming down, but I think I'm gonna start having it ripple backwards. So it was kind of going towards her back, but now I'm gonna have it go towards, kind of redirecting it. So I am trying to redirect and guide how it will look. Let's see. And this front part, oh right, I'm pushing it back forward. So yeah, this shape is gonna kind of look maybe weird. I don't know if this is gonna work actually. Again, a lot of just improvisation, seeing if it works. It's kind of funny because like you see what it looked like beforehand, like when we first tackled it, and it just started going, and now it's doing the whole thing on its own. Kind of looks like smoke or steam. Yeah, honestly, I didn't really. I mean, it kind of works because you know it's a ghostly kind of character, so kind of makes sense, you know. I totally planned for it, for sure, to be that way. I think I'm gonna break it up actually into separate parts. Have it slowly break up. Oops. And let's see, we got about 45 minutes, so I'm just gonna continue starting to break it up. Break it up. And it kind of works. Okay. Nice, nice. Yeah, it is starting to definitely feel a lot more smoky. It's kind of started off looking like hair, and now it's like, nah, now it's its own thing. Now it just slowly morphed into fire, into smoke for the hair. I mean, it's kind of working though. It's working. Okay. Challenge is gonna be how to make it all kind of come together and work. Let's see. I'm gonna think about how probably her hairline, like you know, the top of your head, how you have like that hair center kind of thing. It's probably gonna be up here, like right there. So I'm also thinking about like, okay, that's probably gonna be where it's attached. And yeah, this is like a weird shape. Let's see. I mean, at the end of the day, if the motion works, you know, it might look a little goofy on the first few frames, but so this one, it's definitely a lot of overlap and follow through action and motion. So for those of you who are wondering, maybe from last week, is like, oh, how do you add overlap and follow through? Like this would be it. There's a lot of like trying to figure out how the hair is moving and everything. Prepare for trouble. It is looking a little bit like Jesse, right? Jesse and James from Pokemon. Like the big hair loop. Okay. Let's see. It's now gonna go this way, and I'm just continually moving on with the hair. It just keeps moving and doing its own thing. Okay, I'm just maybe gonna do this for a few more frames and then we'll touch it up. So let's push this to maybe 95. 95 frames. Holy moly. That's a lot. We're gonna settle the hair down. But in a way, I'm kind of starting to turn it back into what it looked like beforehand. Although it is starting to look like Jesse's hair from Pokemon, which was definitely not intentional. I did not have that planned out at all. Kind of loops already? It did a little bit, yeah. Kind of does, but it's not exactly there. I think I can do it. I can do it. I can loop it back. Let's take the first image. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay. Okay, I would have to have it start settling back down. Is how I had it. Yeah, so maybe something like that. Let's see. Just gonna be a lot of flipping, a lot of just tracking the hair movement. Okay, it pushes forward and then settles down. Okay, I think I know where to head this in, is that it's gonna come down this way. This is gonna push forward. This is gonna just kind of tip over like that. Just gonna go through this really quickly. Krita is free. It is free. Yeah. So that's the great thing about it. Is that you can kind of do quite a bit with it already, since it is free. Yeah. Oh wait, I forgot to add the front piece. And let's see, front. I'm starting to rush a little bit because I want to see if I can get it. You know what? It's not perfect in terms of looping it, but I would say this is like pretty good enough for it. How do you know how many frames you need per movement? I don't. So this is what doing straight ahead is like each one that I'm drawing, I'm kind of just tracking the movement of the hair. I'm tracking the momentum. And I'm kind of going like, okay, you know what? It's moving forward, so I'm going to break up the hair into two different pieces, the bottom and the top half. And then I'm just following the motion and the momentum of the hair, while also kind of having a direction I want it to go in. So when we hit this part, I was like, okay, I want the hair to go back to the back. Meaning the hair tip is at the back instead of at the front. And so I started to wind it upwards and then slowly guiding the mass of the hair to go back, which would then pull the tip of the hair back. But then in order to keep it moving, I kind of broke it up into two pieces and then they combined, and then now it's back to this one. I think that was the last frame actually. Yeah, wait. Yeah, it is. Oh, okay. That's a cool last frame to actually end on, I would say. Okay, I did want to do this like little bit. I feel like I know I shouldn't do it, but I kind of want to. And that is, I want to actually have her open her eyes. just a little bit. So we'll have it closed, and I wanted it so that when it comes forward and it goes like this, so maybe somewhere around here. I actually want the eyes to be opened. Oh, whoops, not blank. So this one I'm gonna change it to duplicate. So the eyes will start opening a little bit. And I'm using duplicate because it's I don't have to redraw the entire figure every single time. Oh wait, my bad, I drew it on the wrong one. Let's see, I wanted it here. This one be here. Oh, whoops, okay. Yeah, so hair moves, eye starts going, and probably gonna be open like right over here. So just gonna erase that. That's the figure. Probably not gonna be, it's not gonna be perfect, but you know, that's okay. Okay, let's play this. It is a little bit choppy, but it's fine. You know what, I'm just gonna take out this one. Oh, it's already gone. Huh. Wait, no. I think it might be Krita. Krita's a little... Yeah. I'm just gonna take this one out because I don't think we need it. Just gonna have her flick her eyes open. Yeah, so that's fine. Now I'm just gonna clean up the hair. So I'm gonna go to the hair, turn down opacity. We got half an hour. I think I can do it. Pull off clean line work. Well, I guess we'll just keep the blue lines that I am using, and we'll just call this hair cleanup. Clean, yeah. And we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning. First frame, add blank frame because there's nothing to duplicate just yet. So now this is the part where it's just pretty straightforward. I'm taking what I drew and I'm just gonna refine the line work so that it's more straightforward and all that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna turn off the onion skin because I'm essentially just tracing at this point. And I'm just gonna lock the other layers so don't accidentally draw on them. But yeah, it's still gonna be in a sense rough, but now I'm just gonna be a little bit more intentional with the line work. Maybe we won't have that. It's fine. So if this was like a real cleanup, I'd probably also rework some of the placement of the... I would rework some of the placement of the kind of hairlines. But since we don't really have too much time, I'm just going to worry more about just getting the hair to a more finished look. Try not to zoom in too much because I know that it gives a little bit of a motion sickness. Or at least it does for me. Like when I see people zooming in too much, which I do a lot, but when you're watching someone do it, it's like, wow, that's too much. There's too much movement happening. Actually, I'm gonna erase the scalp now because I don't really need it anymore. Or I'll, yeah, don't really need it anymore. Go back, lock this, go back to hair cleanup. So that's good. And then we'll go to our next frame. And this one, oh right, and we have to change it back to auto key blank. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Yeah. How are people's pieces doing? Is anybody continuing on with their animation? Did anybody kind of continue attempting the hair animation, hair piece? If not, that's totally okay too, because it can be a little bit of a tricky one. Again, like if you've never worked on it before, it can be quite challenging because you're essentially keeping track of the hair and you're keeping track of the momentum of the hair. So kind of like what I've been brought up and mentioned beforehand, animation, a lot of it is just comes down to how well your drawings are. So you don't have to be the best draftsman in the world, but the better your line work is and the better you are at drawing and understanding shapes and mass and volume, the easier it'll be to kind of just draw whatever it is that you're kind of imagining. Probably just gonna turn off the previous one so I can just roughly see what the previous shot looked like. How do you share videos on Discord? Oh, true. If you're using, so if anyone is using Krita, you can save it as a GIF if you want to. If you render sequence, oh, but that's only if you have FFmpeg. So if you don't have FFmpeg, I don't know if you'll be able to save it as a. Actually, maybe you can save it as a GIF. But if you do want to save it as a video, you'll need something called the FFmpeg, and that's something you'll have to download externally, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, I think the video file should work on Discord. The only downside is that if it's too big, of course Discord won't let you upload it. But if you are able to, yeah, definitely feel free to upload your sequences onto Discord. Drag and drop the files. Yeah, I mean, if it works, definitely go ahead. You know, as I was drawing this, though, it did kind of make me think of Danny Phantom. I don't know, did you guys ever watch Danny Phantom? Because it's like an older Nickelodeon show, and I'm like, I don't know if anybody, like, in the newer generation watched it. I make it sound like it's so old or something, but, you know, you're gonna need so much critique. No worries, no worries. Danny Phantom was a great show. Hey, Kevin, you're here. Hey. Everybody, it's Kevin. Glad you could show up. You can make it. Danny Phantom was a great show. It definitely has a very early 2000s vibe in like the characters and how the show is written. Like the ghost of the week and whatnot, but great show. Also Powerpuff Girls. You know what? I've never actually seen Powerpuff Girls. I am kind of like curious. I know they made a reboot, or kind of a reboot. I wonder how that turned out actually. Powerpuff Girls. Yeah, I never got to watch it. I've like seen bits here and there, but yeah, my parents never let me watch those shows. Unfortunately, it was I've been I was missed out on so much of what everybody got to watch as kids. Let's see. Let's go this way. I should probably, well, I was gonna be like, if I had time, I would kind of work on erasing part of the head so that when the hair covers the face, it actually covers the face, but unfortunately, I don't think we'll have time to get to that portion. We don't talk about the reboot. You know what? I've never seen the original or the reboots, so I don't know how it is. Like, is it really bad? How bad is it if it's bad? Which version? PS. Oh, is someone having problems with the Photoshop? Man, I haven't used Photoshop in a while just because I don't want to pay for it. So I've just been using Sketchbook and Krita when I animate. Yeah, I'm gonna make this a bit wider down. Photoshop is good though. I think if you don't have anything else, Photoshop is a good one. One got canceled before it aired? That's crazy. Oh, you know what? I guess I will actually work on the face while I'm doing it. Okay, so figure. Okay, so this one. I'm gonna duplicate the figure. What I'm gonna do, whoops, is I'm gonna add a frame here, and then I'm gonna erase the stuff that the hair is covering. This way. Oh, guess I will probably have to duplicate it though. I'll erase the earring bit. Okay. I'm duplicating the first frame, so that way the stuff that I did erase, I don't have to redraw or like kind of analyze where I think it might be. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And I'm kind of just doing it bit by bit, so I'm just following and updating where I last kind of worked on for the face. I think that's about it. I think that's pretty good. Okay, let's just see. Oh, the hair earring. Should erase that part. Okay, I gotta erase this part. Hey, that's looking pretty good. Hey, nice, nice. This way, it matches the flow and the way the character looks a little bit better, because beforehand it was kind of not really working. Okay. Oh yeah, I mean, you know what? If your school gives you access to the files for free, yeah, for sure. Take full advantage of it. Because Adobe is expensive, especially if you get everything. It's a pricey one. Yeah. But I do think that, I don't know if they still have it. I feel like it's just, they say it's a deal, but it's pretty much just a package that they always have, I feel. Which is, you can technically get Photoshop and Lightroom together for $12 a month, I think. Which is not too bad, considering that if you pay for everything and you're not a student, it costs like, I don't know, 50 bucks, almost 40 bucks for like everything. But like for me, for example, I don't use everything in Adobe, so it's kind of like I don't need to have every single bit. So sometimes it's kind of like, oh, you know, if I don't need it, then if I don't need all those other cloud stuff, then I'm just gonna get the Photoshop one, because like, what's the point? Why get everything when I only need a little bit? Okay. Oh, I was already working on this one. Okay. Man, there's a lot of... Wait, I'm so confused. Oh, I didn't finish this one. My bad. And now... Wait, this one was down here. Oh. Oh, that's why I didn't really match the flow. I think it's because it kind of comes up. Maybe I should have a little bit of it coming forward. And yeah. Gonna have it trail a little bit more so that the transition's a little smoother, because I think this is the one part of the hair motion that doesn't exactly work. I would probably just spend a little bit more time. If I were to do this like on my own, I would spend a little bit more time to just kind of map out and really hammer out exactly what I would want for this sequence over here. And then we could probably just duplicate the bigger one because it looks pretty much the same. Like I'm not really adding too much to it. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, Adobe is expensive. Cool stuff. Hey, thank you, thank you. $85 a month. Oh my goodness, did they ramp it up? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I did not go for it. But I mean, honestly, if you only use Photoshop for let's say drawing, then I would say just go for the Photoshop and Lightroom deal, because then that one you only have to worry about paying $12. It's roughly maybe $15-16 Canadian afterwards, but yeah, it's definitely better than paying $85. If you only use Photoshop, there's no point in paying all that extra bit. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog, but yeah, he's kind of playing with his toy, so he's going a little nuts. Do you like to animate in Krita? It's pretty good. I would say it's not too bad. So far, for like very simple animation sequences, let's say, it's doing pretty good. I'm pretty sure like if you want like special effects, that's stuff that like Photoshop can probably do with like the images and whatnot. You probably won't get that with Krita. But in terms of just like a simple animation sequence, that I would say is pretty good. It's not too bad. I got the wrong one turned on. That's why. Dang it. Okay. Yeah, I was like, why does the onion skin look so light? And it's because I had the wrong one turned on. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, this is when the eye opens. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep the hair mass about the same. That way there's a little bit less jittering, because there was a little bit of jittering, and I kind of just want to minimize that. Jittering happens when either the motion doesn't quite track, or if while you're drawing, the kind of form or shape of the image doesn't stay consistent and it becomes noticeable. So like, let's say an eye blink, if you're drawing like a head turn and the eye blinks or it's changing direction, if you go from a circle to an oval all of a sudden, that's when there will be like a jittering happening. Or if let's say your perspective is wrong for an object, then it'll look like let's say the lid of a cup is changing perspective. So that's when like jittering can happen. So I'm just trying to minimize it just a little bit, but yeah. But again, with this amount of time, you can only do so much. So yeah, but it's still good. I think it's not too bad. Okay, just gonna save, and let's kind of play it. Let's see how it looks. Oh my goodness, I hate my stylus. Stop double clicking. Are you gonna add color? No, I don't think we'll have enough time for color. I think right now I'm just trying to focus on making sure that the lines are clean and it kind of flows as best as I can make it for the amount of time that we're given. So yeah, it would be cool to add color though if I could. I don't know what kind of color I would give it though. Anybody have any suggestions for the colors? Like when they see this, what kind of colors do people imagine? Like what would her hair color be? Unfortunately, I don't think we would be able to see what the hair color would be, but yeah. Grayish blue for the hair? People want grayish blue for the hair? Okay, okay. Ooh. You know what, we'll just have the eye open for a little bit then. Because I realized, like, oh, I can't really... Because I'm going to be duplicating it and whatnot. That's fine. Like your avatar shirt color? Oh, for the hair? I feel like that'd be pretty cool. I think like a gray color would be kind of neat. Jessie from Pokemon. Yeah. Blue, red hair, pink, tealish, blue. A lot of blues and gray blue. I feel like gray blue works. Magenta? Jessie Magenta? Oh my goodness. Matching the bone color maybe? Oh, okay, that'd be pretty good too, I think. That'd kind of work. Okay, we got about 10 more minutes left. We'll probably, I kind of want to finish this, so maybe might go over like a little bit, but try not to go over too much. Did I turn off? I did turn it off. Okay. Well, that's a big jump. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna in between it a little bit because I think that jump was a bit too much when I first did it. I think I was kind of going with the motion, and I made the jump a bit too quick. So that's probably part of the hair motion that didn't feel too smooth. Yeah, same thing here. It's kind of jumping a bit too quick. So I'm just gonna readjust it. And let's see, the hair motion, probably. Yeah, you know what? For this part, we'll just follow it because it'll just make it easier to track. Okay. See how it looks. I think I'm just gonna take away the eye opening. Whatever. That's jokes. Let's see. Where does her eye open? Here. Okay, we can remove this. And we'll turn this on so I can see. Oops. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Turn that off. Go back to the hair. Just going at this one frame at a time, basically. Yeah. We are almost there though. So, whoops. How's everybody doing though? Anybody have any interesting things happen over summer holiday? Hopefully everybody's enjoying their summer before. I don't know. I don't know what most people are doing, but if you guys are doing school, I don't know if you guys are looking forward to school or anything. You're like, no, please don't mention school. Can't talk about school. It's too early. It's too soon. Oh, that's a pretty big change too. Just gonna in between it so that the change isn't too massive, but just enough that it carries on the motion. So because I am working one frame, or not one frame, but I'm working pose to pose, I don't have to worry too much about, I guess, the fluidity. I mean, I am thinking about the fluidity of like how much things are moving in, but I guess because there's not really too much planning, it's a lot of improvisation. A lot of it is just kind of going with the flow, and because of that, I don't have to worry too much about how clean or consistent it is. Tenth grade, the 30th. Oh, nice, nice. School is fun when you take the right subject. I guess that's true. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. I seem to have had like these really big changes, maybe a bit too soon, so I'm gonna just, again, smoothen it out a bit more. Add a little bit more of a ease of transition. And I'm gonna have the hair trail it just a little bit more. I think this was like a pretty big change though, so I guess this actually should be okay for some of it. So the back hair, I am going to have the change be pretty big, but I think for the front part, I'm going to ease it a bit. So I guess some things that I am thinking about as well is the ease and ease in and ease out of it. So because if I want bigger action, then I'm going to have it not ease in too much and have it flick pretty quickly. Okay. Yeah, so this is a pretty big motion, so I would just have the hair. You see how the spacing from here to here is really big? So because that spacing is so large, it'll make the motion feel really quick, even though the gap on my timeline is just 2 frames apart. So that massive gap though will allow for the spacing to really feel like the hair is moving a lot. Like it's covering a lot of distance, basically. And you know what? I'm essentially giving her like Super Saiyan hair for a little bit of it. It's going up. Super Saiyan hair. Maybe I'll have a little bit of like hair strands over there. I don't know, maybe I'll regret it. Be like, oh, I didn't add hair strands for the other parts, but I'm adding hair strands there. It's fine. Okay. Just gonna save constantly, because sometimes, even though Krita is pretty good, sometimes it does crash occasionally. If you have too many layers, or if your file is too big, it can sometimes crash, which isn't great. And everything, so yeah. Ooh. Okay. I know we only have like 2 more minutes left, but you know what? I'll just stay on, you know. We'll go over. Hopefully Joanne's okay with that. But because I feel like it's pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna be tracing it. But thank you everybody for joining us anyways. If you enjoyed the stream, feel free to like and subscribe. This way you're updated with any kind of streams and videos that we'll be uploading. Me and Jesse will be doing another roast sometime soon, so be ready and be on the lookout on Discord, because that's where we kind of make the announcements for when we kind of ask for your art submissions. So if you want to be a part of that, definitely sign up for Discord, because then that way you'll be notified as to how you can submit and how to submit. So yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that. That stream will be coming up soon, I believe, sometime in early or mid-September. Yeah, definitely subscribe and like if you enjoyed this stream. But yeah, I'll go on for a little bit longer just so that I can kind of finish up and touch up this this piece over here. But yeah, kind of just putting it out there. If you guys are feeling interested in the roast and whatnot, yeah, it is hard. I don't know if anybody's ever like talked and animated at the same time. It is not easy because you're like trying to like keep track of motion and momentum, and then you're just like, let me see, how is the hair moving, but then let me also talk at the same time. Okay, I think we got a few more. We're just gonna chug along. Who doesn't want to use the Josh roast emoji? Hey, you know it. Or maybe it might go on for too long, so maybe I'll just do a few more frames and I'll keep the stream running for a little bit more, but then I'll finish it cleaning up all these frames on my own time, because I think we have about like 30 more frames to go, which is quite a lot, and you know, you guys get the gist of how to do this, so you know, not gonna want to keep you guys hanging on for too long, but I'll play it one more time. I'll maybe turn on the rough version so you can kind of see where this is supposed to be heading in, and you can kind of see what the cleanup version should look like roughly. And but yeah, so I'm just gonna play it one last time so you can see how the clean one looks. Or the cleaned up version. It's not fully clean, but it's kind of clean. And then I'm just going to turn that off, and you guys can see what the rough version looks like. So yeah, this is kind of what we're going to be aiming for, and this is kind of the direction that I'm kind of hoping to get to. And don't worry, this will be posted in the Discord. So again, as like I mentioned before, keep in touch with our social media. So we do have Instagram, Facebook, and Discord. So if you want to see what the final animation is going to look like when it's all kind of cleaned up and everything, definitely be sure to sign in, or not sign in, but follow us on Discord, Instagram, and Facebook. That way you can see what the final version will look like. Yeah, guys, really hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys learned a little bit as to how to animate hair. I definitely did pick a trickier kind of sequence for the hair to do, because I kind of made it more like flame hair moving around the character, but the principles are still the same. I'll probably also maybe upload the rough version that I did, where I demonstrated what the core aspect of the hair flow would be. So it's kind of let me see, it's this version. So I'll probably also upload this version so people can kind of see what a basic hair movement would kind of look like, where it's just moving back and forth, up and down. Something that's less complicated than this one. Let's see. Yes. So this one's definitely more complicated. The motion is a bit more complex and all that. But I'll upload both just so that people can kind of see a basic one and then one that's a little bit more complex. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, hope you guys really enjoyed the stream, and as always, I will see you guys on the next stream that's gonna happen. Yeah, and so I guess as always, subscribe, this way you guys are notified as to when the next stream will happen. Yeah, okay, I guess that's kind of it. I will see you guys all later. Bye bye. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, Kevin. Bye. Bye-bye.